Today, December 1st, is the beginning of meteorological winter. For many areas of Newfoundland, it may not feel or even look like winter right now. By this time Wednesday, it's going to be a much different story. We'll talk about it after I thank tonight's forecast sponsor, Total Snow Solutions. Tonight's forecast is brought to you by Total Snow Solutions. Reliable, residential snow clearing with flat rate pricing starting at $9.95. They show up every time, so your driveway is cleared before you leave for work. Serving the St. John's metro area. Book your spot at totalsnowsolutions.ca. We'll start tonight's forecast by taking a look at the future satellite and radar. And this evening at 6 p.m. the setup is an area of rain over most of eastern Newfoundland with snow falling in southeastern Labrador. That all quickly meanders offshore, and by midnight there's not a whole lot left going on across Newfoundland and Labrador as the rain and snow is winding down and temperatures are cooling down. And that will set the stage for a very quiet Tuesday across the island and across most of Labrador. That being said, the clouds are going to begin to increase, and that is the first sign of our inbound nor'easter for Wednesday. Temperatures overnight into Labrador are going to be quite cold in the west, falling into the -20s, close to -30 in Churchill Falls. Most areas on the island overnight dipping below the freezing mark, including in the capital city. Springdale falls to -4, Fogo -2, St. Anthony bottoms out around -9. For the day tomorrow, no travel troubles. A good prep day as well. If you gotta get that snow blower working, make sure it's running, get the shovels out, clean things up, get those patio furnitures put away if you haven't already. Some of you are slackers kind of like me. Tomorrow is a good day to get out and do that. Going to be cold, but not a whole lot on the go. Into Labrador tomorrow, sunshine, highs around -10 in the east and -15 or -16 as we get back into the west. It's as we go into Wednesday, things begin to change. And ahead of the incoming nor'easter, Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued a special weather statement for most of Newfoundland except the Northern Peninsula. Much of the island going to see heavy snowfall, high wind speed. Some areas in the southeast are going to see heavy snow followed by potentially very heavy rain and also some high wind speeds. And that is exactly what the weather headlines are going to tell us as we take a look at the kind of statement breakdown here. So we've got snow, rain, and wind on the way from this area of low pressure moving through. Snow amounts in some areas as high as 30 centimeters, maybe even 40. In pockets that see the most snow. That's not going to be on the Avalon. Change to rain in the southeast is all but a lock at this point. It's just a question of how quickly does it happen for a lot of us. And then we're going to be seeing some strong northeast or easterly wind gusts to as high as about 100 kilometers per hour. It looks like during the day Wednesday, shifting to more north Wednesday night before the winds diminish come early Thursday morning. So when we take a look at the basics, right, what does this system look like? What's the most likely outcome right now? Well, for much of interior, northeastern, even eastern Newfoundland, like from Clarenville points northeast and west, we're looking at heavy snowfall. Lighter snow once you're northwest of Grand Falls-Windsor back through Corner Brook and onto parts of the Northern Peninsula and the Bayvert Peninsula. It's as we get further east, the forecast gets a bit trickier. Burin Peninsula, much of the Avalon, we are going to see snow changing to rain. The question right now is how long does it snow before it changes to rain? And that will essentially dictate how much snow we see. Southern parts of the Avalon, we're looking at mostly rain. It could be excess of 50 millimeters for some areas of the southern Avalon Peninsula. And again, this big swath of central northeastern Newfoundland from the Bonavista Peninsula back to almost Port aux Basques is where the forecast is easiest. So how much are we looking at snowfall-wise in this area? Well, 15 to 30 centimeters from just north of Port aux Basques, I'll scoot out of the way here in a second, to Grand Falls-Windsor, Gander, the Bonavista Peninsula, Northeast Coast, Bonavista Bay, Fogo, Island, Twillingate, Lewisport, all these areas, a widespread 15 to 30 centimeters looks quite likely. As you get back to the Corner Brook area, Bay St. George into Port aux Basques, looks like 5 to 15 I'd reckon on the higher end of that, probably closer to 15 than 5. But once you're into the Rocky Harbor area, as we go up the Northern Peninsula, we're looking at less than 5 centimeters of snow. So in this area, it's not going to be a big deal with respect to the snow, but it's going to be a big deal as you go farther east. Now, speaking of further east, it's as we get onto the Avalon and Burin peninsulas where this forecast is the most tricky, especially on the Avalon, because how it looks now, and we'll get to the future radar in a second, is we're going to see snow develop early Wednesday morning, 5, 6 a.m., maybe a tad earlier. It's going to snow through about midday, or so it looks right now. If that happens, we're going to end up closer to 20 centimeters. Some computer guidance suggests that change is going to happen a little faster than midday. It could be mid-morning. If that happens, we're going to be on the lower end of the scale, closer to 10 centimeters before that changeover. Areas south, we're going to see basically 5 to 10, then very heavy rainfall. On the Burin Peninsula, it's very similar to much of the Avalon. We get that quick 10 to 20, followed by rain, potentially, even on the Avalon, a few hours of ice pellets is certainly a possibility as well. And the reason there's so much uncertainty in this area is twofold. A, the track of the low is not yet exactly known. Small variations, as we know, can have significant differences in outcome. On top of that, elevation is going to play a big role. So this could be a situation where the airport in St. John's might see 20 centimeters. Heart's Content Barrens, significant snowfall, maybe more than 20 centimeters. Areas along the coast will likely see significantly less than 20 centimeters, likely closer to 10, even if it does snow for several hours. So certainly some uncertainty here. Luckily, we have one more day to kind of work this out, but that's what it looks like right now. And the worst of this is going to be the first half of the day on Wednesday with the snow and the wind. And again, there's kind of the overview with the messy weather in southeastern Newfoundland and the easier forecast once you're kind of west of almost Goobies in the isthmus area of the Avalon. So certainly a lot going on with this area of low pressure. And what does this look like? Well, here we are tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Our area of low pressure is south of New York City, bringing snow to Maine, New Brunswick, areas of northern New England, into parts of Nova Scotia and PEI. As we go into midnight tomorrow night, it's raining very heavily over western Nova Scotia. It's snowing for much of PEI into New Brunswick and northern Maine. The snow just working into southwestern Newfoundland early Wednesday morning. By 6 a.m. Wednesday, there's the snow flying across the south coast, starting on the Burin Peninsula, starting on the Avalon Peninsula, but the computer model here has the Burin Peninsula going to rain quite quickly. But watch what happens as we go through Wednesday morning. There we are, 10 a.m. There's the heavy snowfall on the Avalon and much of northeastern central Newfoundland back to the west coast, seeing heavy snow with significant blowing and drifting in some areas that are quite cold, which areas of central and western will remain quite cold. The other thing I want to draw your attention to right now is this. So you see here, the computer model is painting some very bright colors, heavy rainfall. So the snow in this area is going to be very, very intense Wednesday morning. We're talking potentially over 5 centimeters an hour, even on the Avalon before that changed to rain. So it's something to kind of watch as well. As we go into midday Wednesday, that rain snow line will lift north, and here we go. We're going to get to midday, and there we are. By midday, we're seeing rain, 5 degrees in St. John's. So it's going to be a sloppy mess on the Avalon Wednesday morning, potentially some delays, maybe school closures for eastern Newfoundland, certainly looking more likely for central and western areas on Wednesday, as it's going to snow there all day. As we go into the evening hours on Wednesday, we see the rain ending in eastern areas as the kind of dry slot, if you will, from the low begins to move in. Still snowing though for central northeastern Newfoundland. Temperatures near zero at that point. The low passes Wednesday evening into midnight Wednesday night, and the weather will improve gradually come Thursday morning. And Thursday right now looks pretty quiet across Newfoundland and Labrador behind our departing low, but certainly going to be a cold start to our Thursday with temperatures in Buckens 8 a.m. -8 and Corner Brook -4 as a cold air mass tries to move in behind that low. Now with respect to the wind speeds, again, they're going to ramp up Wednesday morning and they're going to become quite high in some areas, especially by midday. So midday in St. John's, it could be raining or snowing depending on how quickly that transition happens. Winds gusting close to 80, Placentia 72, Harbor Breton 56, Gander 51, Bonavista 70. As we go throughout the day in the east, the winds will calm down for a little bit as the area of low pressure moves by, and then we get the winds to ramp right back up again, and by midnight in Bonavista, gusting close to 90, 65 in Twillingate, 60 in Clarenville, 73 in St. John. So going to be a windy Wednesday and a windy Wednesday night before we see those winds calming down as we go into the morning hours on Thursday. Now looking ahead to the later part of the week, we are going to see a quiet day Thursday again, but potentially more rain and snow on the way for Friday for eastern areas. Looks like a rain to snow situation as an area of low pressure swings in from the west, while more snow is going to be possible as we get towards western areas of the island on Thursday into Labrador. We are looking at some flurries in the forecast for Thursday and Friday, but nothing significant on the way. At least that's how it looks now, but it's feeling a lot like the season in Labrador, especially in the west after a bit of a slow start, if you will. Looking at the 10-day temperature trend for Lab West, no big warm-ups in the cards. Temperature staying into the minus teens, lows into minus 20s. We are going to see a bit of a colder air mass trying to work onto the island. It looks like as we go into Saturday and Sunday with highs near or below freezing in eastern areas, which means areas further west are going to be even colder than what you see there. Highs central and west Saturday and Sunday may only be about minus 3 to minus 4 or so. Now, if you want the extended forecast for your area, the best thing you can do is get the SheerWeather app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, where you can find it at sheerweather.ca. Also, don't forget to follow me on all the socials for lots of weather info, because I'll certainly be having lots of that over the next couple of days. And I'll be doing a couple live streams as well as we go through tomorrow and all day, not all day Wednesday, but on and off on Wednesday. Have a very good Monday evening. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, have a great evening. We'll talk soon.